So I know you go after projects that terrify you.
Yes.
Is Barbie the most terrifying project you've done thus far? No?
Easily.
Oh, easily?
So terrifying, yes.
So what is number 2?
Oh, well, I mean, honestly, whatever project I'm working on feels like the most terrifying one. But it feels like God, I mean, they're all terrifying. But yeah, Barbie right now, it was totally terrifying the whole time. Yeah.
Is there a single scene or aspect of this movie that you were most nervous about, executing the way that you wanted?
I mean, everything about the way this movie was made was a giant question mark. It was like, I don't know how we're going to do all of this, because I wanted to do practical builds for everything. I also wanted to anytime I could use whatever a film technique from like 1959 was. So I needed to build the entire thing by miniature and then shoot the miniature and then composite that into the image. Like, I had to do everything practically, like the entire transportation sequences. That's all practical builds. That's all happens in camera. And so everything had to be worked out. It was like, I spoke with Rodrigo Prieto, Sarah Greenwood, and Jacqueline Duran, who are DP, set designer, costume designer. I talked to them for a year before we were even in like prep, because we just didn't know how any of it was possible. I mean, the whole thing was extremely this sort of every day was like this challenge of like execution, but it was, in a way, because I had this very clear vision that I wanted everything to be practical and in camera. It made it easy in terms of how we went about stuff, like with, the mermaid or something. Is like, well, if you were making a stage show, she'd be on a sort of almost like a seesaw rig. Like, you wouldn't have like a big jump up into the air and a tail flip and a splash. You would just rig her up and rig her down. And it was like, well, sort of walking into that simplicity was part of it. So all of that. But yeah, I mean, it was just the set designers and the figuring out all the houses and everything. It was just it was an execution done so perfectly. I am so grateful to everyone who made it.
With everything you accomplished on this, going forward, have you, acquired a new filmmaking goal? Or maybe does, one of your goals feel more within reach because this movie exists?
Yes. I mean, right now, every time I've gone to make a film, there's always something challenging or a new aspect to it. And this one, it felt like I got... it was like a level up. It was like and also just learning how to execute something like this, how to work with certain constraints, how to realize the best way to realize certain visions, like all of that. Everybody I think who's a director has a bit of a fantasy baseball team in their head of like the movies they're going to make in the future. And I have movies I want to make that are, tiny, and I have movies I want to make that are huge. But I knew that if I wanted to make some of these big canvas movies, you got to get the hours under your belt, because you can't, they can be totally overwhelming. So it definitely makes me feel like, okay, now I feel slightly more prepared to maybe tackle the next thing. But yeah, it's only new mistakes, only new challenges. It's just, I'm just so lucky that I get to do it.